So the first question I got was, why are you sick and how did it happen? So I am not sick anymore, actually. I feel phenomenal now. And as a matter of fact, I've put on 24 pounds since I left the hospital. 24 pounds, that's a lot of weight in a month. So I'm definitely doing a lot better. But how did it happen? How it happened was, so I was in Florida living on my own, and I wasn't eating the best, but I wasn't eating bad food either. And right before the new year, I had a flare-up. I contracted that infection in my colon when I went to the doctor to get medication for my first flare-up. So actually going and getting treated made a lot more issues in the long run. I just had to drive back home because my camera battery died. So we got a fresh battery. Ooh. What is it like to own your own business? For me, it's awesome. I love it. I mean, if there's one thing I realized, it's that the amount I get out of it is directly related to the amount of work I put into it. And I'm not talking about currency, I mean energy and happiness and everything. Just the more I work on it, the more I seem to enjoy it. When it comes to what I do, I'll wake up an hour before I should and I'll work on it, and I'll stay up 4 hours later than I should and work on it. It's not like I give myself set hours. I just work on it all the time. I've set it up so my hobby is my business, so all my free time is dedicated to my business, and it's awesome. People say that running your own business is risky, but with how young I am, with how unexperienced I am and everything, it's too risky not to try. Running my own business is amazing. It comes easy to me. It's my hobby. It's what I loved in school. Business is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I just didn't know what aspect, and running it is definitely on the right path. What made me think of starting Pursuit? So actually, I had no intentions of starting a clothing company at first when I wanted to get into business. So what happened was, when I went to college, I already had this idea. See that? When I went down to Florida for college, I was already planning to start Tremellen Media, which is my first unofficial business that I started, and it was basically a marketing business for other small businesses where I would take control of their social media and promotion and run ads on Facebook, Instagram, and stuff. Just, I wanted to get my feet wet and try to learn by actually experiencing it, not learning in the classroom. And actually, if you listen back to a couple of podcasts I made, I talk about not feeling creative. I didn't think I was the creative type. And obviously, from these videos I made, the vlogs I made, some of the stuff I'm doing with Pursuit, I have that creativity. I just didn't have the passion behind running other people's promotions. So that's why Tremellen Media ended. It's because I didn't have the passion to help someone else run their restaurant, because I had no passion in that restaurant. But with Pursuit, I'm making it so much more than just a clothing brand. The last thing I actually want Pursuit to become is just an online store. I want it to become a brand, a passionate brand, something that's meaningful not just to me, but to everyone who sees that logo. So when Tremellen Media ended, I was brainstorming, just trying to get behind something that I wanted to be passionate about, that I wanted to work on. And it just kind of stayed in my mind. And then in December, I started looking into ways how I could do it, how I could actually execute on it. And then January, I just made it happen. I spent the first 10 days working solely on the website and designs and t-shirts and just getting it all put together, and then I released it on my birthday. the meaning behind the pursuit is that I realized that actually putting in the work and being dedicated to something is being driven, not motivated, like Tommy Vossman's post. Being driven and actually showing your passion day in and day out, okay, and loving your work, loving what you do for 1/3 of your life, not just showing off all your material objects and your money and your cars. And if I've learned one thing living on my own, is that I don't really care about money. I used to just want to become a millionaire and become a millionaire as fast as I could. And then I lived on my own and realized I didn't care about the money. I'd much rather be here doing what I'm doing exactly how my life is than having a lot of money and not being able to do what I wanted to do. If I could change one thing, in the last 19 years, what would it be? See, the thing is, I strongly believe that everything happens for a reason. And now you can argue with me and you can say that some things may have no reason behind them at all, but something in my mind makes me create this reason for this. Like, I dropped out of school. The reason I dropped out of school is because I was going to get sick literally 2 weeks after I made that decision, and if I wouldn't have dropped out of school, I wouldn't have been able to go to school, and I would have spent $8,000 on 2 weeks of education. That's the reason I dropped out. But it's also the better decision for me. Another reason, I got this infection in my stomach. I was meant to get this infection so I could come home, so I didn't have to pay rent anymore, so I would save all this money and actually get to live the life I wanted. This last month, after I've gotten out of the hospital, has been the best month of my life. Everything happens for a reason. So what would I change in the last 19 years? Not a single thing. What is my greatest achievement? Starting Pursuit. I keep on topping myself with all the little things I'm doing every day, but the biggest achievement I ever had was getting Pursuit started. It's cool to know I have my own business at 19. It's just something I'm proud of. What are your plans for the future? To be honest, short term, within the next 2 weeks, 2 months, we'll know if I need to get surgery or not. So what are my goals? Avoid surgery. What are my plans? My plans are to avoid surgery as well. I'm actually, with how well I'm doing right now, I'm going to be very surprised if I need to get surgery, so I'm not ruling it out, but I'm really, really hopeful that it doesn't happen. But my plans for future, I don't know. Within the last year, I've changed everything so much, and up until 3 months ago, I was planning on living in Florida for the next 4 years, but that's obviously not the case now. Moving away from home made me realize how much I love it here, and that I don't hate cold weather. I love cold weather. I love hot weather. There's no reason to hate anything. My plans for the future, I really don't have anything right now. I'm gonna play it as it goes. Do I have goals? Absolutely. Have I thought about them much? Not much recently. This has been my first main month working on Pursuit, my first actual month working on Pursuit. I have a lot of health I need to build back. My plans are to get to the point where I can run 5, 10, 15 miles again easily. Obviously, I want to put back all the muscle I had, if not more. I want to go back to eating healthy. And my plans? If I were to make a plan for my future, I would have it so Pursuit becomes a large part of my life. Spend a little bit of time designing shirts, enough just to keep me rolling. I don't need to make a fortune. I don't need to make any money. If I break even on the next 10 years of my life, I'll be perfectly happy, because I know the experiences I get out of it will be well worth it. I love what I'm doing with these vlogs and these videos, because it's creating so much more meaning behind Pursuit and behind everything I'm doing. And it's giving me a ton of energy, and at the same time I'm giving other people energy and inspiration, and it's amazing. I just want to keep on testing new mediums and trying new things and seeing what works and what doesn't, and just try to keep on improving from where I am now. So I don't have any set plans for the future, but I do have some big things in mind. What made me want to start a YouTube channel and put myself on the internet? So I always, as in the last 2 years, I've valued having a presence online. And to be honest, I was always self-conscious. I never wanted to put anything. If you look at my Instagram past 2 weeks ago, there were barely any photos of my face. I think that fish just made a noise. And not splashing in the water, I think he yelled. But the last 2 years, I've always looked up to people who had a really big online presence. And I always wanted to be like that, but I never wanted to come off as cocky. If you know me, I'm a pretty humble dude. And I always just never really spoke about what I was doing. I was always just trying to do my best to put in the work and not just talk about it. I was just trying to execute on everything I wanted to do and not really put it out there. And two things in 2018 that flipped the switch to make me want to start a YouTube channel, which was never an idea in my mind before, and really up what I'm doing online for my personal brand, was reading Crushing It by Gary Vee. I gave away 4 of his books, and if you spend the time, if you see that book, I would highly recommend getting it. I read 3 or 4 of his books before, but this one was by far the best. It gives you the tactics to use to build a career, build a life off what you're passionate about. That's exactly what I'm doing with Pursuit, and that's exactly what I'm doing with my personal brand. How's it feel to be a badass? Pretty good. Do you still ride? I don't ride currently because I'm trying to get my health back. My heart rate would be insane. I'd probably feel terrible riding right now, but I will be back riding soon, yeah. How do I like vlogging so far? I love it. The one thing I need to get used to, which is going to be a while, is actually carrying the camera around in public places, like in grocery stores or malls or anywhere, just outside in public. It's one thing I'm definitely going to need to get used to, because it's kind of weird, but I'll get used to it eventually, and then I'll love it. Did you ever think about vlogging for a company as a side source of income? I would love to do something like that, but I need to find a company or a brand that I'm passionate about and that I want to get behind. That's the reason I failed with Tremellen Media, and that's the reason I'm not gonna fail with Pursuit. Who are some of my favorite vloggers? I watched some of Logan Paul's stuff. I thought it was entertaining, but my by far favorite vlogger, when I say that, I mean I literally watched all of his vlogs from 6 years ago till now, is Casey Neistat. Not only is he remarkable at what he does, but is very entertaining. What business do I own? You probably know that by now. It's Pursuit. Pursuit brand. It's a clothing company that I started online, and now I'm branching into actual inventory stuff and creating videos and putting a meaning behind it. What's the difference between roast and toast? Huh? Do I go to school anywhere? Not currently. I went to Florida State for the first semester this year, and then I dropped out because I realized it was a lot of money and I didn't learn a single thing. I loved the school, I loved the atmosphere, I loved where I was living, I loved the location, I loved the heat, I loved every single thing about college except the education. What is my 10-year plan? I don't have a 10-year plan. I might seem like a person who would have a 10-year plan, but all the crazy stuff that has happened within the last 3-4 months of my life have made my life the best. So I'm kind of just living it right now. My daily goals. Daily goals: wake up at a decent hour, eat good all day, eat healthy, make sure my stomach is happy all day, which is recently is not that hard. Get a run in now since I can run. Post a vlog, at least one video online. With Pursuit, I try to get 2-3 posts, and I try to actually get engaging posts, not just photos that you don't even want to see. And I want to do something for my personal brand every day. My weekly goals: to do all of my daily goals all 7 days. Yearly goals, I don't really have any. With my physical body, I have a lot of work to do, and I'll get there as fast as I can. With Pursuit, I don't really have any, because this is the first month I've actually put work into it. January I got sick, February and March I was sick, and now I'm starting to get into it. I'm learning a lot. What motivates you? What really motivates me is that everything I'm doing currently makes me extremely happy, extremely satisfied. It's not that I don't need to look elsewhere for motivation anymore. I used to watch tons of Gary Vee videos. I used to listen to tons of Tony Robbins videos. I used to read tons of books. Recently, I don't need anything. I wake up and I work on my craft. I go to work, I think about my craft while I'm at work. I get off work and I work on my craft more. I run. I feel good. I'm just feeling good. I'm happy. Nothing's motivating me besides what I'm doing myself. My biggest fear in life in relation to business: nothing. There is no reason to be afraid of running a business or starting a business or trying something new in business, because you can only fail so many times before you do it right. If I fail with Pursuit, I'm gonna find something else to try. If I fail with that, I'll try something else. I'm just gonna keep on trying until I succeed. And if I'm dedicated to running my own business and being a business owner for the rest of my life, all I need to do is make sure I fail fast and learn from it. As long as I keep that up and don't give up, eventually I'm gonna get to where I want to be. I think that's all. I don't have any more questions, but thank you guys so much for sending in the questions. It worked out pretty well. I know the audio, it's a little quiet. I'm in a park right now and I have kids and trucks and stuff going by, so yeah, I'm gonna go run now. See ya!